In 1995, photographer Alix Carmichele was attacked while alone at a house in Nutsi. Her attacker, Francois Coetzee, was known to her, a violent criminal who'd recently been let out on bail.
I knew him because his mother worked for Julie. The previous victim's mother came to Julie at her office and said, "Do you know what he's done?" He brutally assaulted and raped another young girl. That is the first time I knew anything about him. Then I made it my mission to go and find out when and how and what happened. And then I found out that he had done it to another young girl as well. He'd indecently assaulted her. So he had a history of violent crimes towards women.
Incensed that someone as violent as Coetzee could have been granted bail, Alix started doing all she could to get it revoked.
2 weeks before I was assaulted, I met an advocate. I told him that I'd been to the public prosecutor, I'd been to the police. I said that the prosecutor said that there's nothing that she can do. And he said, no, there is something that she can do. The prosecutor does have the power to oppose bail. But in this instance, the docket was never read. The bail was never denied. He was released on his own recognizance.
Francois Coetzee came for Alix in a premeditated attack aimed at silencing her and stopping her efforts to have him sent back to jail. The attack was relentless.
He had put a knife on top of the fridge, which he then reached for and put it in his mouth and dragged me down into another passage and stabbed.
Did you think, this is it?
I did. I had so much adrenaline going through my body that I didn't have any pain. And then when the knife went in, because I thought it had gone in, I thought, okay, well, there's no pain here either, so, you know, dying can't be that bad. But then when he pulled it out, the knife had bent. When I kicked him off me and ran, I ran into this room, thinking that it was my way out, but it obviously wasn't, yeah. And then I ran all the way out through those doors and then down those steps. I just ran down onto the beach. And by that time, there were people there. You know, it was all kind of blurred and in slow motion. I couldn't see because I had, you know, blood in my eyes. I just ran into the sea. You know, it's like, I thought, oh God, he's going to come after me.
I heard the sirens going in the main road, and it always sends a chill through a person, especially if you've been through a catastrophic tragedy. And we were walking on the beach when Alix's friend Julie phoned. She said, "Alix has been assaulted, but don't worry, she's alive." And of course we went to go and see her in the hospital, and she was obviously in deep, deep shock. She didn't know what had happened to her. So she was Alix. She was still bubbling and babbling on. And she said, "Well, I'm coming home with you too." And we looked at her and we said, "You can't come home, sweetheart. You can't." She didn't know what had happened to her, really.
Very first, what I plan to do is to do like a chronological book of all the clippings, which will help me with the story, yeah. My mother says if I don't do something with them, she'll use them for the parrot cage. You can see there how badly the bone was broken. I mean, I had 5 operations to fix my arm. That's when the plates went in. I had a bone graft, you can see it there. They took bone out of my hip and they put it in because the break was so bad and it didn't, the bones didn't knit.
Does anything not work properly today as a result of the attack?
Well, I have, because of the reduction, I have a lot of pain here, and I do have quite extensive nerve damage from all the operations. You can't actually see.
I mean, this is the thing that we all read about the most in the paper.
I was hit on the hardest part of my head. Years later, I worked out why it was premeditated. Because I was saying, lock this guy up. I would go to the police, the public prosecutor, and say, what can you do? No, there's nothing we can do. We can send him away for observation to see whether he's mentally fit to stand trial, but we can't hold him. In effect, we'll just have to wait until he commits another crime. But I never thought that it would be me.
Coetzee was arrested, but Alix felt that the state had failed in its duty of care to protect her. She decided to sue the Ministries of Justice and Safety and Security for damages.
When I met Terry Price, who became my advocate, he said, you have to take legal action because he has a 4-year suspended sentence for indecent assault. I think it was 6 months later that he actually thought that he murdered that girl. And he went and he handed himself over, and that is where they ignored the whole bail issue. And in the interim, I had been saying, this guy is a problem. He's a threat to society, to me, to my life, to other people's lives. And then he did it to me. That's what made it possible for me to take action against the state.
She just drew on her inborn spirit to go full tilt at it. I didn't approve of her going for it because when you're older, you know that these things tend to be long, drawn-out affairs, and you can waste half your life doing that.
Who said to you that you would lose 15 years of your life?
My mother.
Your mother. What would you have said to your daughter?
I probably would have said the same thing to her.
But you decided to do it.
I did decide to do it. It was like a knee-jerk reaction. People encouraged me. They said, go for it. You're so brave, Do you know what you're doing though? Yes, I think I do. I think I know what I'm doing, but I didn't know anything. I didn't know what I was doing. The first court case, there was insufficient evidence. The state's advocate said, yes, the state does owe a duty of care, but only to certain people. And I've never been able to work that one out. Which people? Which people are those? Year after year, or every second year, I went back to court. That case was thrown out of court. I appealed. The appeal was denied, and the only other course was to go to Constitutional Court, which I did. And they found in my favor, and they said, you have the right to prove that the state does owe you a duty of care.
Alix's determination was hailed by the public, but years of court cases took its toll on those closest to her, and of course, on Alix herself.
As the court case went on and on, how was it for you?
I wanted it to be so over all the time. I just wanted her back as she was, without fixating on this thing, and to have a good shot at life, just be happy.
Yeah, there were times where I wanted to stop. I mean, I had to undergo operations every second year, either to put plates into my arm or take them out. And that resurrected everything that I was doing. It resurrected the actual event, the assault, and then all the stuff, all these cases, that I had to go through.
Regardless of how you felt, physically and emotionally, you took on the system. You took a leap of faith and you went back in.
Initially it was such an outrage what had happened to me, because it happened to me, my ego. But along the way, I stopped that, because it occurred to me that it wasn't just about me. It was about protecting women and children. Collectively, in this country, women are being abused, they're being raped, there's this incredible sort of tolerance towards the plight of violence, towards women. And hopefully that law that was changed will be implemented, or is being implemented, or is being used or cited in some way to protect other people.